Praise the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and peace to everybody that's here in the name of Jesus. Today we're going to conclude our three-part series, The Seven Trumpets to Armageddon. And we saw in the first two parts that God has an awesome plan to take over this world. And he's gave us even a holy day to recognize his awesome plan that he's going, how he's going to utilize these trumpets to take over the world at the battle at Armageddon. But we haven't paid attention to it because we have done away with God's holy days in the Bible. So we saw in part one that he gave us in Leviticus 23, the memorial of the blowing of the trumpets, a great holy day that you supposed to acknowledge because this show you what God utilized, how he's going to end the world at Armageddon because trumpets are a sign of war. They call the battle to war. We saw that in 1 Corinthians 14. So, and we saw in part two how, well, we saw in part one, first of all, that he gave you a preview of what he's going to do in Jericho when he used 7 priests with 7 trumpets to blow on the 7th day after they can pass the city 7 times. And finally, they took over Jericho on the 7th day. So that was just a preview because then we saw last week that he going to have 7 angels blow 7 trumpets. And each time the angel blow, a plague is going to be poured out. And it's going all in on the 7th trumpet, just like it ended in Jericho. On the 7th day, when the 7 priests blew with the 7 trumpets after they can pass the city 7 times, it all climaxed, brothers and sisters. And the Lord didn't rapture nobody. What did the Lord do? The Lord took over Jericho. He took the city. See, he's taking the world now. It ended with a shout. The people shouted, and the wall of Jericho fell down. What we're going to see is going to end the same way because the Lord's intentions, brothers and sisters, is to take over this world and rule as King of Kings and Lord of Lords. But he's going to have to do that by force, by war. And he's using these trumpets to announce it, brothers and sisters. Also, trumpets announce the coming of a great king. So now we're going to pick up part 3, the 7 trumpets to Armageddon. And we ended last week in Revelation 16 at verse 16. After the 6th trumpet blew, the Lord got them all down there. After the 6th plague, on the 6th plague, he got them all down to the place where he wanted them at. All these armies, and he going to deal with them. You don't know what's on God. You don't know, like we read in part 1, God is a man of war. You don't know that. But you're going to find out. Revelation 16 and verse 16. Go ahead, brother.
And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon.
See, he got them all down there. And it's set the stage for the last trumpet. See, don't have nothing to do with God taking you to heaven. Have something to do with God taking over this world with war. Mm-hmm. So he got them all down there at Armageddon. Now, what's going to happen? Go ahead.
And the 7th angel poured out his vial into the air.
See, here go the last plague, which was announced by the last trumpet, which we're going to read that in a minute. The 7th angel poured out his vial. And what happened?
And there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne saying, "It is done."
Of course it's done, because it always completes on 7. That's how important 7 is. Go ahead.
And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth. So mighty an earthquake and so great. And the great city was divided into 3 parts. And the cities of the nations fell, and great Babylon came in remembrance before God.
And what happened? The cities of the nations fell. Just like didn't Jericho fall on the 7th day when the 7 priests blew the trumpets after going around the city 7 times? The wall of Jericho fell. So now when the 7th angel poured out his vial, which was announced by the 7th trumpet, which we're going to read after this, he said, the great city was divided into 3 parts, and the cities of the nations fell, and great Babylon came in remembrance before God to do what?
To give unto her the cups of the wine of the fierceness of his wrath.
See, this is the leaders, especially the Western Hemisphere. He going to deal with Babylon. Go ahead.
And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found.
Oh, it's going to be nothing but destruction. Go ahead.
And there fell upon men a great hail out of heaven, every stone about the weight of a talent. And men blasphemed God because of the plague of the hail, for the plague thereof was exceedingly great.
See, you haven't seen no plague yet. He said it's going to be exceeding great, and men still going to blaspheme God. That's a shame. Back up to Revelation 11, and let's climax it with the seventh trumpet, because that's where it's all going to end at, brothers and sisters. Revelation 11 and verse 13, because we read in part 1, we had the first 4 trumpets. He said, whoa, 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 for these last 3. And the Lord is bringing the last one. He's coming on this last woe, which is the seventh trumpet. Go ahead, verse 13.
In the same hour was there a great earthquake.
Just like we read in the last place, but go ahead.
And the 10th part of the city fell. And in the earthquake was slain of men 7,000. And the remnant were affrighted, and gave glory to the God of heaven.
See, the people that don't get killed, they going to know, look, you better give glory to the God of heaven. You got to fear God, brothers and sisters. Go ahead.
The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly.
It cometh quickly. And what's going to announce the third woe? Go ahead.